hospitable one. Congratulations to everyone. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Well, thank you, Wordmaster, for that great report. Now, as the General Evaluator, it's my turn to provide you some feedback on how your club meeting went. Your theme today was raising the bar. And let me just say, to begin with, you did that. You raised the bar today. You never know what to expect when you're attending a club meeting. And this one here was quite special. It started off on time. I saw that Bill had put in the chat window that it was time to begin to keep everyone moving in the right manner. Marianthi, as our Toastmaster, welcomed everybody, which was nice. It's great to feel like you're a member of the family when the meeting starts. I liked the word of the day. I really liked the word of the day because it was a Greek word in keeping with the tradition of the club and providing those of us who aren't Greek speakers a little bit of an opportunity to try it. Did we do well? Did we not? At least we tried, and I think that's important. Something that was very unique to your club today was inviting your club presidents to speak. I've never seen that done before, and I realize that if you have 200 clubs, it's a little difficult to do, but having a nice small community to be able to present is really nice. And here's what made it extra special to me. Not only did the club presidents speak about their club, which is what I would expect them to do, but they also told us a little bit about the community that they're from, a little bit about the culture. And as you saw today, at one point you had 112 participants on this call. This might be the only opportunity they have to visit Greece. And to be able to take a little bit something back with them is truly, truly a treat. I like that Marianthi gave a little bit of a recap after the speakers spoke. I also liked that the evaluators introduced the speakers and the project. Another thing that this is the first I've ever seen was that the speech titles and projects were put in the chat window for everyone to see. Well done on that. Now, there were some things I think that could be improved upon just a little bit. One is obviously time management. We know we're a little bit over. You're proud of your club. You're proud of your meeting. You put a lot into it, and I think that's a risk. So let's be honest. We're going to be talking about our clubs. We're proud of them. We're going to be sharing a little difficult to do that in a 1-minute time frame, no matter how hard you try. So thinking about maybe if we're going to do that in the future, limiting the speakers to 3 instead of 4, or changing up something in there. But that's minor. That's minor. It's just figuring out how best to adapt. I liked the fact that you kept the participant window or the chat window down so that the meeting was more like a meeting, and I appreciate Bill for putting things back and forth. So great, nicely done there. During the break, though, you may want to consider opening up the chat window so that individuals have the opportunity to share information about themselves. There's a lot of individuals who have been on other calls with me, and they like to send contact information so that you can stay in contact with them. Just a brief suggestion on your agenda is that where the speech evaluators' names are, if you could put the speaker's name as well, because I found myself having to either bounce up and down the agenda to see the name of the speaker and put it to the evaluator, or write it on a separate sheet of paper. But really, those things are minor. You have really raised the bar today. You have really shown what your club is all about. I would encourage you to reach out to other clubs around the world and visit them and get their best practices. But you've really done a great job today. Thank you for the invite. I know that we're up against time. We're really supposed to be in the Q&A section right now. I just want to make one brief comment before I announce the winners. 11 months ago, the world changed. Can you imagine? It's been 11 months that we've been living in 1x2 boxes on our computer screen. That we've been physically distanced from one another. I don't say socially distanced because I think we're all being very social. We're just physically distanced. The ability for us to get together, shake hands, high five, was taken away from us. But we focus on that challenge and we'll miss the opportunities. And right now, the opportunity to meet people around the world is literally at the tips of your fingers. It's just a matter of hitting the enter key or finding a Zoom link, and you can be anywhere in the world. The greatest barrier to us today is not COVID-19. It's not being able to get on a plane. It's not being physically located in the same room. The biggest barrier right now is a time zone. And if you're willing to get up early or stay up late, you can be anywhere in the world. And then if you look at the participant list today, you're going to see that there were individuals here who were up very early and stayed up very late. I encourage you to continue to share your club with the rest of the world, to continue to reach out and share yourselves. Let the world learn about you. There's a cultural evolution that's taking place now, and that we're learning more about one another and getting the ability to understand one another just a little bit more. Now let me announce the winners for today's meeting. Our best table topics goes to Tarek. Congratulations, Tarek. Our best evaluator goes to Peter. Congratulations, Peter. And our best speaker goes to See, I try to hold really still so people think my computer froze. The best speaker of the day goes to Manos. Congratulations. Well done. Madam Toastmaster of the day, I know that we are running behind. I am willing to stay for questions and answers if the club has any, but I will place one request with the club before we continue. When the world tour is over, I'll be putting together a journal of the clubs I visited to share with the rest of the world. You had 112 participants today. There are 365,400 others that want to hear about you. So I kindly ask the club to provide me a write-up, a Word document, and tell the world about your club, your people, your culture. What would you like the rest of the world to know about you? And then I will put that in the journal for sharing at the end. No word count requirement. You make it as long and as small as you want. Put pictures in it if you'd like. Just please share it in a Word doc. That's all I ask.
Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster, General Evaluator, International President, Richard. We are very honored for that request. I can speak, I think I can speak for the club that we're going to accept it happily and try to do our best to show the world who we are. That is also, I understand, your mission. You're going to drive us through this cultural revolution, and we are very glad that you are the one who are here with us and makes us all feel like we are a family. We are like very connected. I don't want to keep you longer from your Q&A session. Hopefully everybody who can stay, please do stay. It's going to be a very interesting part of the meeting. Thank you very much. I apologize for the time delay. And let's start the Q&A. Nikos Perianos, Bill Vardas, the floor is yours.
Mr. International President, welcome to District 109. My name is Bill Vardas, and I'm one of the two ADs in the area. And with my friend Nikos here, my counterpart, the other AD, we would like to ask you a couple of questions.
Sure.
So let's start with the most obvious one. How many clubs have you visited so far, and how many more do you expect to visit by the end of your world tour? Was there a more interesting or experience or unique experience so far that you would like to share with us?
So to date, I have visited 72 clubs. I've given about 50% of those club meetings were speeches, pathways speeches, although I have taken on other roles, table topics master, evaluator, general evaluator, like your club. The goal is 146 clubs, 145 countries. So for those of you who are going, there's an extra club in there and not a country attached to it. We have visited a 100% online only club, so they are not associated with any one country. But the other 145 clubs will be country associated. And should have that wrapped up, if everything goes the way the team is working at, somewhere around May or June at latest. So that's been good. Anything that's been outstanding, anything that's different. Yeah, all the clubs are doing something a little bit different, something that they couldn't do when they were face to face. Sharing the screen for table topics. I've seen some do a Jeopardy board, with, Greek culture for 100, Johnny, or philosophers for 1,000, and have the screen up there and play with that. So that's been great. I do like when clubs share a little bit of culture with the audience. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I've learned words in certain countries, haven't been doing very well at it, but have tried. I'm a big foodie, so I love it when clubs talk about their food, because then I go downstairs and try to find a recipe for it and try to cook it. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But all clubs are unique, and I think that's what makes it special. That's what makes the visit special. And if you have the opportunity to travel and visit other clubs, you'll see their uniquenesses as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. And actually, on a personal note, thank you very much for actually being the driving force to have this wonderful meeting today. Because I suppose that this is, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time that all the clubs of Greece are meeting in a single, let's say, meeting. So it's really a pleasure, and it was, I think, a fantastic meeting, in my opinion, at least. So a question from my side, and it's related to pathways. And here in Greece, there is interest, of course, for a Greek translation of the pathways. And I'm wondering if there is a survey in Toastmasters International about, let's say, in the other countries where there is a translated material, how many actually have been adapted to this? How many are actually using the English version? Do you have something to comment on that?
Yeah, so thank you for that. As you know, we have a certain number of languages that are our officially translated languages. We know that there is a need for other languages out there. The problem for us translating is a small population, so putting our resources into it would not be in the best interest for us as World Headquarters staff, because we'd have to put staff in the finance aspect of it. However, that being said, the board has voted to allow local translation. All you need to do is you need to work with your district directors in your district's 109 team. They'll work with World Headquarters and lay out the plans for it. So it's local translation by locals, and then the process would be that it's reviewed by World Headquarters staff to make sure that the intellectual property is being maintained, that the translation is proper. This all came about because we knew that translation was being done essentially underground, right? Gray market translation may not have been the best, and we realized that there was a need. So the board made that decision to allow local translations. So if you reach out to your District 109 team, they should be able to provide you some direction.
Thank you.
Thank you. Richard, the pandemic has definitely changed our landscape. After a year of online meetings, as you said, we have experienced online fatigue maybe for some. We have new members, actually, in fact, that have never been in a live meeting before. We're seeing changes in membership patterns in general. And we would like to know if Toastmasters International has anything in the works to assist clubs adopt with the new realities and move forward from there.
So the new reality, I think, is an interesting statement because it's going to be up to the club to determine really what that new reality is. Because we do have clubs that are already back meeting in person. We do have clubs that are doing hybrid meetings. That is the most challenging meeting, I think, that there is out there. And those clubs that were 100% online before the pandemic and really didn't have to take too much time to adapt. Personally, I think hybrid meetings are going to be the wave of the future. And I think some clubs have inadvertently put themselves in that position already without necessarily realizing it, because clubs are accepting membership from around the world. When you go back to meeting in person, you still have to provide service to those individuals. And therefore, you've put yourself in a position to be a hybrid meeting. Hybrid meetings take time to set up, make time to make sure that you've got the right equipment, the right sound. I've been on some that have been really spot on. Multiple cameras, multiple large screens on the wall. The audience could be heard very well, handheld mic to go around the room. I've been in some where it's a stationary microphone up at the front of the room. They're asking guests to speak from all the way in the back. You can't hear them. Or they're speaking with the mic to their side when they're up on the stage and you can't hear them. So hybrid meetings, I think, are tough, but I think they are the wave of the future. We're never going to direct a club one way or the other what you have to do, what your equipment requirements are going to be, but I think we could possibly provide some best practices for hybrid meetings, for Zoom meetings, those type of things. I think that would be probably beneficial to clubs.
They will certainly be, I am sure. Last question from my side, actually, Richard, is with regards to pathways. And pathways have been actually launched a couple of years ago officially. And since then, there have been a few updates on this, on the projects and the pathways itself. Do you still consider these are a work in progress, or do you think that they are actually currently serving their conceptual design?
Well, I think the design that's there now was the conceptual design. However, I think it's a work in progress. We laid the foundation, as you do when you're building a house or any program, and then you start building from it. So, for example, engaging humor was not part of the original plan, and that has been added to it. I think what you're going to see is more paths will be added going forward. The question that I always try to consider before implementing anything new is how much change is the organization and our members capable of adapting to at any one point in time. And we know right now is a major change going on in the organization. It's been a major change in all of your lives, mine as well. And the pandemic has impacted us all either emotionally, physically, loss of family members, loss of friends. So it's been tough. So where do we make the proper balance? When do we make the changes right? Is introducing a new path now as important as trying to figure out how to stabilize the organization? So I think there's those things that have to be looked at as well. We also have to be forward thinking in what our paths look like. Harvard Business Review stated, I believe it was Harvard Business Review, that in the future, 66% of the workforce will be virtually located. They will not be in a corporate environment. So what does the leader of the future look like? What does the team member of the future look like? What are communication skills of the future look like? I think you see some of the challenges even in club meetings. So body language. Nice and slow is really good. It's not comfortable. But when you start moving really fast, things get blurred or backgrounds change. How do you present properly? So I think there's a lot of real estate there for us in that market that we have to look at.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for all that.
Thank you, Nikos. Thank you, Bill. Preparing for this meeting, I was reading and listening to everything I could find about our international president. And as I kept reading and listening, the international president was becoming Richard, a cool engineer, a very driven person, a dedicated husband, a foodie, an overall great guy. But don't forget to read everything you can find as well. But mostly, I believe, and I think we've seen that, and we'll get to see that more in the future. He is the right person for the job. He is a leader for the new era. So thank you very much for being with us, Mr. Toastmaster, Mr. International President. And I'd just like to give Xenophon for the final remarks. You have our admiration, and it was lovely meeting and seeing you in person.
Thank you, Maranthi. I hope to see you in person someday as well.
Thank you very much. What a meeting. I want to thank you all from my heart for your participation and also for the organization, because a lot of work is done behind the scenes. And I'd like to close with some questions. First, and very important, did you enjoy it? Okay, that was one of our goals. And second, did you feel philoxenia in our meeting? Thank you. That was our second goal. And the third one is for you, Mr. Peck. It's called tzatziki, and it's a Greek recipe that you should Google. And next time we wait you here in Greece in person to have a big, huge table of foods.
Okay, now I have a question, and I know tzatziki. And I've made hummus. I've made homemade hummus. In America, we have a hard time figuring out, is it gyro, or gyro?
It's gyro. We call it gyro.
Gyro. Okay.
Gyro. Very good. Thank you all very, very much. And hope you enjoy it. And we're here every week to our meetings. Thank you all the Greek clubs, the participants, the guests. Thank you very much, Richard. Wish you good night.
Thank you so much for the evening.
Have a great evening, everybody. It was my pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everyone. Thank you, everybody.
Night, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Thank you, Director.
Thank you.
Thank you, Xenophon.
Thank you very much.